What is up, teacher? Mike here, and today I'm gonna cover something very important, which is how to be more creative, how to think of more ideas on your writing and speaking of CELPIP. But before we do, let's not forget our introduction. Hey everyone, teacher Mike here. If you don't know me, I'm the teacher and founder at ExpressPrep.ca, where we help immigrants like you become residents in Canada by improving your English, improving your CELPIP score. I've got 12, the maximum score on CELPIP myself, and now I help people like you do the exact same thing for your immigration to Canada and even other countries that accept CELPIP and proficiency exams. Let's jump into this. Today's video, it's gonna be very quick, but very important because a lot of students message me asking me this one question, which is, how do I become more creative in my writing and speaking? One of the main things that you're going to see in writing and speaking of CELPIP, and including other tests, IELTS, TTE, TOEFL, which are all these proficiency exams, they may require you that you have the ability to think of a situation. So on CELPIP, that's gonna happen very often. For example, in speaking task number 1, where you have to give advice to a friend about something. So you have to be able to imagine that situation with a friend. The same thing happens maybe on speaking task 7 of CELPIP, where this test is going to ask you about your opinion on something, and maybe it's an opinion about something you never even thought about. So for example, what do you prefer if a country invests more in technology or more in the history of that country? That's a real CELPIP question where you have to think, well, I don't know. I want to teach you today 3 very important things you can do to improve your creativity, and in consequence, you're going to improve your score in all of these tests. So the number 1 thing that you are going to improve in order to improve your creativity and the ability of you to speak and write better, okay, we're gonna call this the judge less. Why is this number 1 rule? Because you are going to judge yourself less. All that means is that when you think about the first thing that comes into your mind when you're creating those tests, that's usually enough to get started. So I like to play this with my students, and I always say, okay, I'm gonna give you 2 seconds and you have to think of the favorite food that you have. What's your favorite food? And every time I play this game, I say, what's your favorite food? And they say, apple. And I say, well, it's probably not apple, but apple was the first thing that came into your mind, and that's great. So whatever the first thing that comes into your mind that you have in those tests, I want you to always use that first idea. So that's the first thing. So allow your brain to come up with something. So if the question is, do you prefer remote work or do you prefer to go to the office? Whatever the first thing that comes into your mind is, that's what you should use on the day of your test. So if you said remote work and that was the first thing that came into your mind, now your next step is just to think of reasons. But if that was the first thing that came into your mind, that's the most important thing for you. That's the one that is easier for your brain to come up with easy answers, because your brain will think about the easiest thing. Now, the second thing is that you have to do a lot of practice. So this one is an obvious thing, but if you practice having more ideas, judging yourself less, you need to do a lot of practice tests. Best way to do more practice tests is with mock tests, okay? You guys know this already. I talk about this all the time. There's a link in the description here where you can get access to more than 25 practice tests of the CELPIP test for free, something that we've developed for our students. You can have access for free. It's usually $100 a month, but it is for free for 7 days right now, okay? And then the third thing that you need to learn is you're going to need to learn what we call the golden rule of creativity. This is the golden rule of creativity, which is something that is going to improve your ability to speak for more time, speak longer, and with more quality. And the golden rule of creativity is very simple. Once you have your main idea, you are going to break that main idea down into 3 other smaller ideas. And this will allow you to speak for longer and write for longer always. So let me give you a clear example. What is your favorite food? Go once again. And if you said apple, now you may think, okay, I don't know what else to say about apple. What else can I talk about? And it's so easy once you learn to connect 3 main things, 3 smaller things about the main thing. So if my main idea of my favorite food is apple, I would think about 3 other things I can talk about apple. So first one, I'm gonna talk about the taste. Second one, I'm gonna say that it's healthy. And third one, I'm gonna say that it's cheap. And now I just have to create 3 sentences about it. So let's hear it. My favorite food is apple. First of all, because the taste is so good. When I compare it to other fruits, apple is my number 1. Also, it is one of the healthier choices you can have. And it's one of the best things to have, especially for breakfast. And lastly, because it's cheaper than many other fruits available, and I can get it the whole year. Perfect. So now I have 3 very good ideas about the first idea, which was the apple. If you want to practice this at home, something very simple you can do is write it down first. So if you want to practice this at home, all you have to do, write down your main idea first, and then write down 3 smaller ideas about that main idea. idea, and then after you can try speaking it. If you don't know any ideas, you can think about ideas yourself. So for example, you can ask questions to yourself. So you can ask yourself, okay, what was my favorite trip that I've ever done? Which is the best place I've ever been? Things like this. You can ask yourself questions that are very simple to answer. And then the first thing that comes to your mind, so what's the best trip I've ever done? It's like, okay, best trip I've ever done was to Mexico. Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind is Mexico. And then now you can write down 3 ideas and you can use those 3 ideas to help you think better. Writing down helps people think better. So if you've never done this type of exercise, I would highly recommend it, where you write things down to help you improve your thinking. Okay, so don't forget 3 things to improve your creativity for your CELPIP writing and speaking, and this applies to every other proficiency exam, TOEFL, whatever. Judge yourself less. The first thing that comes into your mind is a good thing. Use it. Second, practice as much as you can with mock tests. Again, link in the description for our mock tests. And 3, don't forget the golden rule of creativity. Every time you have a main idea, you break it into 3 smaller steps, and you are guaranteed to speak for longer and with better quality, and this will improve your score in all of the proficiency exams, not only on CELPIP. As usual, don't forget, if you want my help to get your CELPIP score for immigration, PR, or anything in Canada, and now for Australia as well, we're getting Australian students because CELPIP is now accepted in Australia for the official preparation for the official immigration in Australia. All you have to do is check the description down below. There's a link there. You can talk to one of the members of my team to get my help. As usual, hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you are watching this video and like it as well. Leave a comment. What else would you want me to teach? Because this video I created out of a comment. Somebody asked me this question and I answered in a video. So if you have a question and you would like me to create a video, comment down below and I will get to it eventually. Other than that, see you in the next video. Teacher Mike out, and let's get your awesome score.